Hi, I'm Jeff Walters, and welcome to The Minutes. And thanks for listening today. It's great to have you along on The Minutes for the week of March the 18th, 2024. This is a City of Thunder Bay podcast. The Minutes takes a look at what happened at Thunder Bay City Council this past week. On this episode, we'll have a rundown of what happened at this week's City Council meeting and an interview with City Clerk Krista Power about a report from the Integrity Commissioner. We'll hear why we have an Integrity Commissioner and what they do in just a couple of minutes. But first, Council started off with some modifications after the Official Recognition Committee suggested some changes to how citizens of exceptional achievement are recognized. As part of the 2023 budget reductions, the annual event recognizing citizens of exceptional achievement was eliminated. The event cost about $12,000 per year. In a report to Council, the committee says it's received a lot of feedback and suggests continuing the event, but changing it so there is no cost. The group looked at 14 other municipal recognition programs and determined a no-cost event could be held. The new format would start in April of 2025 with a special committee of the whole meeting. The number of recognitions would be at 30 for the annual event. Monthly recognitions, which are the Outstanding Achievement Awards, would also continue. Council heard more funding will be required for the proposed turf facility near the community auditorium. On Monday, administration said geotechnical and environmental reports for the site show a different foundation is needed because of a layer of soft silt was found where part of the building would go. A drilled, cast-in-place foundation would be needed instead of a shallow foundation. This change would cost an additional $600,000. There is also contaminated soil within the building's footprint, which will add to the cost. The additional costs bring the total price tag to just above $38 million. Council previously decided that $38 million was the total upset limit for the facility. Council did approve a financing strategy, though, of up to $44.6 million. Construction on the turf facility wouldn't start until the spring of 2025. Administration continues to work with a consultant on the operating costs and financials of the facility, and public consultation has also taken place. A request for information was also made to firms that previously responded to the city's expression of interest for the chapel's indoor turf facility. That request is to gather market information on the interest to operate and finance the Soccer Northwest Ontario facility, or if those firms would want to take part in a design-build option. Administration will now bring back a report in early June. Council received a report from its Integrity Commissioner, Principals Integrity, on Monday night. The report was written after the Commissioner received a complaint about the conduct of Councillor Rajni Agarwal and her involvement with the Fort William BIA. The complaint said that Agarwal was frequently late to meetings, disruptive, argumentative, and problematic, causing members to resign. She also authored grant applications without the board's approval. The Integrity Commissioner recommended removing Agarwal from the BIA board. Council voted to ask the clerk's office for training opportunities for Agarwal. That report, with training recommendations, will come in 3 weeks. We'll hear more about the Integrity Commissioner and their work in just a couple of minutes. Council voted to approve extending the timeline for when a new subdivision can be built. In 2019, a piece of land near Arthur Street and 20th Side Road, known as Lacewood North, was approved. The 9 lots would have municipal water and septic fields. The land was sold in 2020, and the new owner needs an extension to comply with all the conditions in the subdivision agreement with the city. Those conditions should be complete a year from now. And that's a wrap as to what happened at Council this week. For more information on anything that happens at Council, please visit our website, thunderbay.ca/council. We don't hear from them very often, but they do very important work. On Monday night at Thunder Bay City Council, the Integrity Commissioner delivered a report after receiving a complaint about the conduct of Councillor Rajni Agarwal. The complaint stemmed from Agarwal's behavior as a member of the board of the Fort William Business Improvement Association. Krista Power is the city clerk in Thunder Bay, and her office receives all the Integrity Commissioner complaints in Thunder Bay. Krista, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So let's start with the very basics here. What is an Integrity Commissioner?
Well, an Integrity Commissioner is an independent authority who is tasked with completing investigations after receiving complaints from anyone. Could be members of council, could be members of the public, could be members of staff about the conduct of a member of council, and then bringing recommended sanctions or a report to City Council.
And you kind of said it there, that not necessarily every time we get a complaint from the Integrity Commissioner that there's a sanction or something like that.
That's correct. So certainly the Integrity Commissioner can receive a complaint and deal with that informally. It cannot be substantiated. So there's a variety of different processes they could follow depending on the complaint, whether an investigation is required, and then what the result of that investigation is.
So why do we even have an Integrity Commissioner? Can't we just have someone on city staff, someone in the clerk's office, maybe the clerk doing this instead?
Certainly, the city staff could be the appointed Integrity Commissioner. It's generally best practice to have an independent Integrity Commissioner, which is an important part of the legislation. There is a legal requirement for municipalities to have an Integrity Commissioner appointed by City Council. That happened in 2019 when the Municipal Act was updated, and a requirement for conflict of interest to be recorded in a database available to the public, and then also for all city councils to have an approved code of conduct and an appointed Integrity Commissioner.
And could that Integrity Commissioner be the Ombudsman? We've heard about the Ombudsman in the past as well.
Yes, so the Ombudsman is the default. If City Council does not appoint an Integrity Commissioner, the Ombudsman then by default becomes the Integrity Commissioner for all municipalities, all 444 in Ontario.
Okay, so either essentially pick one or we'll give one to you.
Yes.
Okay. How does the process work? So if I'm Joe Q Public, I want to launch a complaint, what do I have to do?
So the first thing you have to do is contact the Integrity Commissioner. On our website, there's information about who the Integrity Commissioner is, what their contact information is available, again, email. There's also a complaint form. You can also read our code of conduct to find out, is this something that would apply to a breach of code of conduct for members of council, also members appointed to board committees. So this doesn't just apply to City Council, but also all citizen and advisory committees of council, with the exception of the Thunder Bay Police Services Board, the Thunder Bay Public Library Board.
So those two are under different legislation and
That's
different.
correct.
Okay. So when you make a complaint, if someone makes a complaint to the Integrity Commissioner, what happens from there?
So the Integrity Commissioner would receive that complaint and then again complete their appropriate investigation. Is it substantiated? They would contact the member of council. They would work with the member of council, be fully transparent. All of the investigations are confidential. So just like you would complete a harassment investigation in your workplace, the same process applies, that individuals are interviewed by the Integrity Commissioner. My office is not involved with that work. That's done separate from us. And then they come to a conclusion. They write a report that's reviewed by the member who the complaint is about, and then it's presented to City Council.
So you don't see anything until there's a final report made?
That's correct. The only thing I may see is if there is information they need from me that relates to that complaint or that member of council, but I don't participate in the investigative process.
So it could be like minutes or information kind of like that is what
Certainly.
you need. Do we know how many complaints we get from the Integrity, or how many things the Integrity Commissioner investigates that you're not involved in? Are you privy to that info?
No, what we receive is the number of files that they're working on, and whether those files are related to a complaint or whether they're related to requests for advice. Remembering that the role of Integrity Commissioner isn't solely to receive complaints, it's also to provide advice of a legal nature to members of council as to whether or not they have a conflict.
So a member of council can also approach the Integrity Commissioner about something that they're involved in, not necessarily their colleagues.
Absolutely. And certainly that's something that we provide as a great resource to all members of council, that should they own a property, there's an item coming before council, do they have a conflict? They need an opinion. The Integrity Commissioner gives them that opinion in writing, and then they get to determine whether or not they will disclose a conflict of interest.
Who pays for all this? You're talking legal, you're talking lawyers. It sounds expensive.
The City of Thunder Bay pays for it. We have an annual budget of $25,000. The last few years, we have not been over that budget. And that's part of the reason that it's to our benefit, again, to use an independent firm that has specific municipal expertise.
So, council last night had a decision to make, or this week had a decision to make about a recommendation from the Integrity Commissioner. They went in a different direction. How was that possible?
It's possible because the Integrity Commissioner comes forward with recommendations, but it is the decision of council in disciplinary mode to decide, do they accept that recommendation or do they provide other sanctions? So last night what happened was council decided they weren't going to approve the recommendation from the Integrity Commissioner. They referred it back to my office to work in consult with the Integrity Commissioner to suggest potential training for Councillor Agarwal.
And that's something that you'll deliver when?
April 8th is when I need to come back to council after, again, consulting with the Integrity Commissioner to provide options for council's consideration.
Now, I know we don't see a ton of Integrity Commissioner reports in Thunder Bay, and I'm assuming that's probably a good thing at the end of the day. In the past, does council always follow their direction, or is it kind of new that we're not necessarily following their recommendation and we change courses?
We haven't received a high number of complaints. I would say that it's general practice that they accept the recommendation, but they do have the ability to go in a different direction, to take a different avenue should they see it beneficial. And that's what we saw last night.
Krista, anything else you want to add before I let you go today?
No, the only thing I would certainly say is it's important for folks to be aware of the fact that we do have a code of conduct for members of council. I'd encourage folks to go to our website, take a look at the code of conduct, take a look at breaches. If you have questions, you can call the Integrity Commissioner, you can call my office, and happy to work with you to make sure people have what they need and understand how the process works.
Krista, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Krista Power is the City Clerk in Thunder Bay, and she joined me here in the Minutes studio. A big thanks for listening to the Minutes this week. Of course, if you want more information about City Council, agendas, or minutes, visit thunderbay.ca/council. If you want to listen to past episodes or maybe provide some feedback, visit thunderbay.ca/theminutes. You can also find the Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. That's including Apple, Google, and Amazon podcasts, along with Spotify, plus our website as well. I'm Jeff Walters. Thanks for listening this week. We'll chat again next week. Make it a great day.